What makes a band iconic? It's a question I think about a lot. Is it the riffs, the look, the longevity? With ZZ Top, it's all of the above and then some. To really understand the story of their massive 80s hit, Gimme All Your Lovin', we have to go all the way back to the beginning. The story starts not in the neon-soaked 80s, but in the dusty, blues-drenched landscape of Houston, Texas in 1969. This is where the magic began. The core of the band came from two rival Houston groups, the Moving Sidewalks, which featured a young, fiery guitarist named Billy Gibbons, and American Blues, which had the rock-solid rhythm section of Dusty Hill on bass and Frank Beard on drums. It was a fusion born out of mutual respect and a shared love for the blues. Billy Gibbons was already a guitar prodigy. He'd even earned praise from Jimi Hendrix himself, who called him one of the next big things in guitar. When the Moving Sidewalks disbanded, Gibbons was determined to create a new power trio, one that could channel the raw energy of the British blues boom, but with a uniquely Texan flavor. He found his perfect counterparts in Dusty and Frank. Their chemistry was immediate. They had a shared language rooted in the music of Muddy Waters, John Lee Hooker, and Howlin' Wolf. This wasn't just a band getting together. It was a musical brotherhood being forged in the heat of the Texas music scene, ready to take on the world. The name itself, ZZ Top, has a few origin stories, but the one Billy Gibbons tells most often involves his reverence for the bluesmen who inspired him. He noticed that many of them used initials, like B.B. King and ZZ Hill. He thought about combining the two, creating ZZ King, but felt it was too similar. Then he thought, well, Kings are at the top, so why not ZZ Top? It was quirky, memorable, and paid homage to their roots. This simple act of naming the band set the tone for everything that would follow. A deep respect for tradition, mixed with a playful, almost mythical persona that would become their trademark for decades to come. So the lineup was set: Billy Gibbons on guitar and lead vocals, Dusty Hill on bass and vocals, and Frank Beard on drums. This trio would remain unchanged for over 50 years, a remarkable feat in the often turbulent world of rock and roll. This stability was their secret weapon. It allowed them to develop a telepathic musical connection, a deep groove that was instantly recognizable. From these humble, bluesy beginnings in Houston, they laid the groundwork for a career that would see them sell millions of albums, play to massive crowds, and eventually completely reinvent their sound and conquer the world of music television. Their journey was just beginning. Before they were MTV superstars, ZZ Top spent a decade honing their craft and building a fiercely loyal following. Their sound in the 1970s was raw, unapologetic, and deeply rooted in Texas blues and boogie rock. Their first album, aptly titled ZZ Top's First Album, released in 1971, was a statement of intent. It was gritty, blues-based rock and roll, filled with Gibbons' signature guitar tone and the band's tight, driving rhythm. Songs like Somebody Else Been Shaking Your Tree weren't aiming for pop radio. They were made for smoky bars and long drives down dusty highways. This was the foundation upon which their entire musical house would be built, a solid bedrock of authentic American music. Their sound evolved with each subsequent album. Rio Grande Mud in 1972 saw them lean even harder into their Texas identity, and then came the breakthrough, Tres Hombres, in 1973. This is the album that really put them on the map. It contained the song that would become their anthem for the decade, La Grange. Inspired by a real-life brothel in Texas, the track is a masterclass in blues rock perfection. It's built on a simple, unforgettable boogie riff that just chugs along relentlessly. Tres Hombres went gold and established ZZ Top as a major touring act, cementing their reputation as the kings of Southern rock and boogie. Throughout the 70s, their albums continued to deliver their signature sound. Fandango, in 1975, gave us the classic Tush, a swaggering, blues-drenched rocker that became a staple of their live shows and a hit on FM radio. They followed it up with Tejas in 1976, an album that further explored their Texas roots. After this grueling period of recording and relentless touring, culminating in the massive worldwide Texas tour, the band took a much-needed hiatus. This break was pivotal. When they returned at the end of the decade, they came back with a new look, the iconic beards, and a sound that was about to take a surprising turn, setting the stage for the next chapter of their career. The sound of this era was defined by its simplicity and power. It was all about the groove. Frank Beard's drumming was straightforward but incredibly solid, locking in perfectly with Dusty Hill's melodic and muscular bass lines. This created the perfect pocket for Billy Gibbons' guitar work. He wasn't a shredder in the traditional sense, he was a master of tone and phrasing. His solos were concise, melodic, and always served the song. They were using classic gear, Gibbons with his legendary 1959 Les Paul Pearly Gates plugged into a Marshall stack to create a sound that was both timeless and unmistakably their own. This was the ZZ Top the world knew and loved before everything changed. So, what makes Gimme All Your Lovin' such a great song? Let's break it down. Musically, it's a brilliant fusion of the old and the new. At its core, it's still a ZZ Top blues rock song. The track is in the key of C minor, a common key for rock music that gives it a powerful and slightly moody feel. The structure is simple and incredibly effective. Verse, chorus, solo, chorus, outro. It doesn't deviate from the formula because it doesn't need to. The magic is in the execution. The main riff, played by Billy Gibbons, is instantly catchy. It's a simple driving pattern that hooks you from the very first second and doesn't let go. The engine room of the song is, as always, the rhythm section, but with a twist. The drums, played by Frank Beard, have a driving, four-on-the-floor beat that is almost robotic in its precision. This is a key departure from their looser, more swinging 70s groove. This metronomic pulse is what made the song so danceable and perfect for the clubs and radio of the 1980s. Dusty Hill's bass line is simple and powerful, locking in perfectly with the kick drum and providing the solid low-end foundation. It's not flashy, but it's the glue that holds the entire track together, creating an unstoppable forward momentum that propels the song from start to finish. And then there's the guitar solo. Billy Gibbons is a master of telling a story with his guitar, and this solo is a perfect example. It's not a long, indulgent shred fest. Instead, it's a beautifully constructed melodic statement. He uses his signature pinched harmonics, those squealing notes that became his trademark, to add attitude and flair. The solo is built around the C minor pentatonic scale, the bedrock of blues and rock guitar. But it's his phrasing, the way he bends the notes and leaves space between the phrases, that makes it so memorable. It's a textbook example of how to play a solo that serves the song, elevating the energy without overstaying its welcome. In terms of equipment, this was a transitional period. Billy Gibbons was still using his famous guitars like Pearly Gates, but the overall sound was cleaner and more processed than on their earlier records. The guitar tone is still fat and powerful, but has a polished sheen that was characteristic of 80s production. The drums were likely a mix of Frank Beard's real kit and programmed drum machine sounds, which gave them that tight, punchy quality. And of course, the most important new piece of equipment was the synthesizer, which we'll get into. It was this careful blend of classic rock gear and new electronic instruments that created the unique sonic landscape of Gimme All Your Lovin'. The decision for a gritty Texas blues band to embrace synthesizers was a huge risk, and it's one of the most fascinating parts of this story. By the early 1980s, the musical landscape was changing dramatically. New wave and synth pop were dominating the charts, with bands like The Human League, Duran Duran, and Depeche Mode leading the charge. The organic, blues-based rock of the 70s was starting to sound dated to some. Billy Gibbons, always a student of music and technology, was paying close attention. He was fascinated by the new sounds he was hearing and saw an opportunity not to abandon their roots, but to augment them with modern technology. The main catalyst for this change was a studio engineer named Lyndon Hudson, who worked with the band during the pre-production for what would become the Eliminator album. Hudson was proficient with synthesizers and drum machines, and he and Gibbons began experimenting. They started layering subtle synth pads and sequenced bass lines underneath the band's traditional rock setup. The idea wasn't to replace Dusty and Frank, but to create a new sonic texture. They wanted to create a sound that was sleek, modern, and powerful, like the hot rods that Gibbons was so passionate about. The synthesizer wasn't the enemy, it was a new tool in their creative arsenal. This new approach fundamentally changed their sound. On Gimme All Your Lovin', the synthesizer is used brilliantly. It's not the main instrument, but it's constantly present, providing a low, pulsing drone that runs throughout the song. You can hear it most clearly in the intro and under the verses. This synth bass line, likely played on something like an Oberheim or a Moog, doubles the main riff and adds a layer of electronic sheen. It makes the whole track sound bigger, fuller, and more modern. It was a subtle but revolutionary change. They were still a three-piece blues band at heart, but now they had this futuristic electronic undercurrent. This fusion was controversial, even within the band at first, but Gibbons was convinced it was the right direction. He saw it as a way to stay relevant without selling out. He famously described the new sound as the same three guys, the same three chords, just with a modern twist. The synthesizers didn't soften their sound, they sharpened it. They made the grooves tighter and the riffs punchier. It was a gamble that could have alienated their old-school fan base, but instead, it propelled them to a level of superstardom they had never imagined. It was the perfect marriage of Texas grit and 80s gloss. When Gimme All Your Lovin' was released in the spring of 1983, the reaction was immediate and overwhelming, but also, a little divided. For a whole new generation of younger fans, this was their introduction to ZZ Top. They heard a killer rock song with a driving, danceable beat that fit perfectly alongside the synth pop and new wave acts on the radio. The combination of a massive guitar riff, a catchy chorus, and that subtle electronic pulse was just, irresistible. It sounded fresh, exciting, and incredibly cool. The song was an instant hit on album-oriented rock radio stations all across the country, who really embraced the band's modernized, punchier sound. However, for some of the band's longtime fans from the 70s, the new sound was a bit of a shock. They were used to the raw, organic boogie of albums like and the slick production, the drum machines, and those synthesizers on felt like a betrayal to some purists. They accused the band of selling out and chasing trends. In music magazines and on radio call-in shows, you'd hear debates about whether this was still the real ZZ Top. It was a classic case of an established band evolving and having to navigate the expectations of their original audience while trying to attract a new one. But the band, and particularly Billy Gibbons, stood by their creative choices. They knew that to survive and thrive in the 1980s, they couldn't just keep remaking. The positive reaction from radio and the record-buying public quickly drowned out the grumbling from that small contingent of disgruntled fans. The song was simply too good to ignore. Its power was undeniable. Even those who were, at first, skeptical had to admit that the track had an energy and a hook that was just impossible to resist. It was the sound of a veteran band confidently striding into a new era, and most people were more than happy to come along for the ride. Ultimately, the success of the song proved that their gamble had paid off spectacularly. It bridged the gap between classic rock and the new wave of 80s pop. ZZ Top managed to do something very few bands from their era could. They reinvented themselves without losing their core identity. They were still the same little old band from Texas, but now they had a high-tech engine under the hood. The initial shock soon gave way to widespread acceptance and then massive celebration. Gimme All Your Lovin' wasn't just a hit song. It was a statement that ZZ Top was here to stay, and they were ready to conquer the 80s on their own terms. If the song itself was the fuel, then the music video was the rocket that launched ZZ Top into the stratosphere. In 1983, MTV was the single most powerful force in the music industry. A hit video could make a band's career overnight, and ZZ Top, with their unique visual appeal, were tailor-made for the new medium. The video for Gimme All Your Lovin', directed by Tim Newman, was a stroke of marketing genius. It wasn't just a clip of the band performing. It told a story. It established a mythology that would define the band for the rest of the decade and beyond. It was a perfect storm of music, visuals, and storytelling. The concept was simple, yet iconic. A down-on-his-luck young man working at a gas station is visited by three beautiful women who arrive in a cherry-red 1933 Ford Coupe, the Eliminator hot rod from the album cover. They give him the keys, and he is transported into a world of cool parties and adventure. All the while, the band, Billy, Dusty, and Frank, appear almost like mystical bearded wizards, playing their instruments and benevolently overseeing the action. They weren't just the band. They were the purveyors of a magical rock and roll fantasy. This narrative was incredibly appealing to the young MTV audience. The video transformed ZZ Top's image. Before MTV, they were known primarily for their music. After the Gimme All Your Lovin' video, they became visual icons. The long beards, the cheap sunglasses, the matching black suits, and the fuzzy spinning guitars became instantly recognizable trademarks around the world. The Eliminator hot rod itself became a fourth member of the band. The ZZ Keys keychain became a mythical object, a symbol of transformation and cool. The videos for the subsequent singles from the album Sharp Dressed Man and Legs continued this narrative, creating a mini-trilogy that cemented their status as MTV royalty. The impact on sales was immediate and astronomical. The video was put into heavy rotation on MTV, playing multiple times a day. This constant exposure drove audiences to record stores in droves. People who had never even heard of ZZ Top before were now buying the Eliminator album. The video didn't just sell the song, it sold the entire ZZ Top brand. It made them household names. It proved that in the 1980s, a compelling visual identity was just as important as the music. For ZZ Top, the music was already great. The video was the masterstroke that made them global superstars. The combination of a great song and a blockbuster music video translated directly into incredible commercial success. Gimme All Your Lovin' was a certified smash hit. In the United States, the song climbed the charts, peaking at number 37 on the Billboard Hot 100. While that might not sound incredibly high, its real strength was on rock radio. It shot to number 2 on the Billboard Top Tracks chart, which measured rock radio airplay, and stayed there for 5 weeks. This demonstrated its absolute dominance within its core genre, receiving constant rotation and becoming an anthem of the summer of 1983. The song's success was not limited to the United States. It was a global phenomenon. In the United Kingdom, it was an even bigger pop hit, reaching number 10 on the UK singles chart and turning the band into stars across the Atlantic. It charted high in countries like France, Belgium, the Netherlands, and Australia, proving that their modernized blues rock had universal appeal. This international success was a direct result of the MTV effect. Music television was broadcasting the ZZ Top image and sound to every corner of the globe, creating a worldwide fan base for the Texas trio. The single was the lead-off for the album Eliminator, and its success created a massive wave of anticipation for the full record. When Eliminator was released, it became a juggernaut. The album went on to sell over 10 million copies in the United States alone, earning it a prestigious diamond certification from the RIAA. Worldwide, sales are estimated to be over 20 million copies, making it by far the band's best-selling album and one of the best-selling albums of the entire 1980s. This level of commercial success was unprecedented for a band that had been around for over a decade. It was a complete commercial rebirth. Gimme All Your Lovin' was the key that unlocked this incredible success. It was the perfect introductory track for the album's new sound. It established the formula that would be repeated with Sharp Dressed Man and Legs, creating a string of hits that kept Eliminator on the charts for years. The sales figures are a testament to the band's brilliant decision to evolve their sound. They didn't just make a successful record. They created a cultural touchstone and a commercial powerhouse that redefined their career and cemented their place in the pantheon of rock legends. The long-term impact of Gimme All Your Lovin' and the Eliminator album is immense. The record's unique blend of blues rock and electronic elements created a new template for mainstream rock music in the 1980s. Many established rock artists took note. Bands like Aerosmith, who were in a career slump at the time, saw what ZZ Top had done and followed a similar path, collaborating with modern producers and embracing slicker production to stage their own massive comeback with albums like Permanent Vacation. ZZ Top proved that veteran bands could successfully modernize their sound for the MTV generation without losing their soul. The song's influence can still be heard today. The idea of blending organic rock instrumentation with electronic textures is now commonplace in popular music, but ZZ Top were pioneers in bringing this sound to the rock mainstream. Artists and genres from country to pop have borrowed from the Eliminator playbook, understanding the power of a driving, danceable beat combined with a killer guitar riff. The song itself has become a permanent fixture in the classic rock canon. It's a staple at sporting events, on film soundtracks, and in television commercials. Its energy is timeless, and its appeal is cross-generational. Even in the age of digital streaming, Gimme All Your Lovin' continues to be a monster. Looking at the numbers today, on December 29, 2025, the track's enduring popularity is clear. On Spotify, the song has amassed an incredible number of streams, well over 700 million at this point. It's often the first song people listen to when they discover ZZ Top. On YouTube, the official music video, that iconic piece of 80s pop culture, has been viewed more than 280 million times. These are staggering numbers for a song that is over 4 decades old, proving that its appeal hasn't faded one bit. The legacy of Gimme All Your Lovin' is that it represents a perfect moment in time. It was the right song, with the right sound and the right video, at the exact right moment in music history. It transformed ZZ Top from a respected, successful rock band into global pop culture icons. It solidified their image in the public consciousness and gave them a second act that was even bigger than the first. It's a testament to their musical curiosity, their willingness to take risks, and their undeniable talent for writing a perfect rock and roll song. It's a track that will, without a doubt, continue to be played and loved for generations to come. So, what have we learned? We've learned that Gimme All Your Lovin' is much more than just a simple rock song. It's the story of a band's brilliant evolution. It represents the courage to embrace change and the genius of blending the old with the new. It's the sound of Texas blues meeting 80s technology, a fusion that nobody saw coming, but that everybody loved. It's a masterclass in songwriting, production, and marketing, all coming together in one perfect 3-minute and 59-second package. It's a song that sounds as powerful and exciting today as it did back in 1983. We've seen how Billy Gibbons, Dusty Hill, and Frank Beard, a band deeply rooted in American musical tradition, were not afraid to look to the future. They took a massive gamble by incorporating synthesizers and drum machines into their signature sound, a move that could have ended their career. Instead, it propelled them to unimaginable heights of fame and success. They understood that music has to evolve, and they had the vision and the talent to guide that evolution on their own terms, creating a sound that was both commercially successful and artistically satisfying. That's a rare and difficult thing to achieve. The story of this song is also a story about the power of the visual medium. The iconic music video on MTV didn't just promote the song, it created a whole universe around the band. The red hot rod, the mysterious keys, the beautiful women, and the almost mythical presence of the bearded band members, it all combined to create a cultural phenomenon. It's a perfect reminder of a time when a music video could be an event, something that everyone talked about the next day at school or work. It turned ZZ Top into characters in their own rock and roll fable. So, my final message to you is this. Go listen to this song again. But this time, listen with these new insights. Listen for that subtle, pulsing synthesizer line underneath the driving guitar riff. Watch the music video and appreciate the clever storytelling and iconic imagery. Think about the risk the band took and the massive reward they reaped. Gimme All Your Lovin' is a cornerstone of rock history, and it's a song that truly deserves its legendary status. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel for more deep dives, and let me know in the comments what makes this song great to you.